Hey, so back again with another video. Today I'm going to be doing 10 most overrated horror movies, in my opinion. So this is just my opinion, just my take, just my preference. It doesn't particularly mean that I don't like the films. All the films out of these 10 I actually like. I give a lot of credit to, and I do think they're very good movies, and I can sort of see why people do hold them in high regard. It's just I think they're a tad overrated. So this is my 10 most overrated films that I've seen and own. So yeah, I don't want anybody to get upset, offended who watches this. I know most people won't, they're fine, but did the top 50 of my favorite horror movies the other day, and with one or two people, well, mainly one person, it managed to really upset them, and it made them mad, I think, from the comment they left me, because they bothered to leave me a comment. You see, if you don't like something, you won't bother leaving a comment, is what I think. So if you actually leave a comment, it says a lot about, it says like, you're quite mad and whatnot. But anyway, I don't want to go on about that. Sorry about that. I'm just doing a disclaimer saying, these movies that have their own merit, they have credibility, and I like them as well. I just think they're a tad overrated, so I'm going to put them into a top 10. And in no way does it intend to upset anybody or cause any offence or what have you. So anyway, let's have a bit of fun, something a little bit different, and get down to my 10 most overrated films. All my opinion and preference. Okay, so kicking things off at number 10 is Wreck. Yeah, I really like Wreck. I think it's a great found footage film. Spanish, well, found footage slash mockumentary. It's about zombies, a zombie virus infecting an apartment building in Spain. Yeah, really cool movie. Not got a problem with it. I just think it's a tad overrated. It gets put in high regard when it comes to found footage film, and I found footage films, and I think the Blair Witch Project, and even the Blair Witch Project 2016, as well as most of the Paranormal Activity series, is much better films in my opinion. And yeah, but I can see why people like it, and it's a good one. There's no way it's a bad film. It's good, but yeah, I think Wreck's a tad overrated. So there we go, Wreck at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is a film from more recent years, from the past 10 years. It's a very good film. It does have its big fans. A lot of people love it. I thought it was very good. I didn't exactly love it. I've seen it a couple of times. It's got a lot of atmosphere, and that is Hereditary. So I think this is slightly overrated. It's really good. The director Ari Aster obviously has a good eye for horror, because I actually preferred Midsummer myself, but this has a lot of atmosphere and suspense, and really captures the bleak outlook of this family and what's going down after a death that occurs. Well, after a couple of deaths actually in the family. As the film progresses, things do get a little bit more interesting, but it's just overly long. I think it's just over 2 hours, so it's like 127 minutes. It's far too long. It's a bit too drab in places. It's a good film. I can see why people love it, and I think it's really good in some regard, but it's also really drab and really slow, and things get more interesting at the climax of the film, and you kind of wish it had another like half an hour to go, but then of course it ends. But that's, I suppose, the idea of the film. It has a very big ending where things are revealed and whatnot. But yeah, Hereditary at number 9 in the my most overrated films. Coming in number 8, The Faculty. So yeah, this film's all right. I don't mind it at all actually, but I do think it's overrated, and there's a lot of people saying it needs a 4K, which it probably does. But yeah, I just think the film's like a typical 90s like horror movie. Even the cover's very bog standard. It just looks like a late 90s, like, well, a slasher film. If you know if you know no better, it does appear to be a slasher, but it's not. It's actually about aliens and whatnot, but taking over a school, basically, um, infiltrating the bodies of teachers and whatnot. Sorry to spoil there, but I'm sure most people have seen it. But yeah, it's got a big cast of like younger stars at the time in it, and I just don't think it's that good really. I thought it was okay, but that's The Faculty at number 8 anyway. Number 7 is a film in this countdown that I've placed at number 7 that may annoy some people. So if you watch this and you're annoyed, in no way am I saying this is a bad film. It's a debut feature for a director, so it's understandable that it may not sort of like resonate with everybody. It's very different. It's very clever in its own right. I do like the film. I do think it's pretty smart. I like the undertones I like the message in the film, I like the acting, etc., the story, but it's a little bit overrated, and that's Get Out. So I've put Get Out at number 7. Yeah, I think this movie's slightly overrated. Like I say, everything that I said to a positive effect stands. You know, it's got a lot of positives to it. I just think it's a little bit dragged out. It's slightly boring in places, but it's got good undertones and a good message, as well as the acting's pretty good. And the sort of final scenes in the film are, you know, quite action packed. But yeah, Get Out at number 7 for me. Debut feature from Jordan Peele, who is a good director. You know, I like most of the films he's worked on, and even the first season of the reworking of the Twilight Zone, I thought some of those episodes were quite intriguing as well. Not perhaps as good as the older show from the you know, from decades before, but it was an okay show he produced. And I liked Oz, and I thought Nope was okay. I actually think Get Out's better than Nope, but I don't think Nope's as like overrated as Get Out. Get Out's a really like overrated modern horror film in my opinion, but it's also very good in its own right, but a bit overrated for me. So, looking at my collection and whatnot, if you have done through the videos over the past year or so, you probably gathered I'm a big Stephen King fan, and I like a lot of his novels and books, and I'm a big fan of his adaptations into film and TV. However, I do think this one is a tad overrated. Again, I keep saying that, a tad overrated, because I do like the film, and that is It Chapter 1 from 2017. So it's the remake of the movie. I know they did the 1990s mini-series with Tim Curry as Pennywise, but this is the one with Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. He does a fantastic job. He's a great Pennywise, great actor as well. He's good in a lot of films, but I just find this slightly overrated. Don't have really anything bad to say about it, apart from once you've actually watched it once, it can be slightly irritating and annoying, and there's too much CGI. Nothing wrong with some of the CGI in the film, I just think there's an overabundance of it, and I find it a tad overrated, I'm afraid. That's It Chapter 1 from 2017. Okay, number 5, M. Night Shyamalan's Split. It's horror adjacent. I won't call it a pure horror film as such. It's a part of the trilogy he did with Unbreakable and the film Glass, which is the third and latest in the series. But as much as I like Split, and I think it's quite a clever film in its own right, and I did like the performance from James McAvoy, it was very good, but still I found the film as a whole a little bit overrated. It's kind of slow in places. It's got a lot of the you know, a lot of scenes involving the girls who have been kidnapped. I know that's pivotal to the plot, but I just think this film's a little bit overrated, and I'm going to class it as a horror sort of. It's horror adjacent, and I just wanted to pop it in the 10 and most overrated horror movies. That's Split. Coming in at number 4 is actually one I'm not too keen on, and it is from James Wan, and that is the, you know, one of the creator of Saw, I think. Did he direct? I'm not sure. Was that Lee Winnell? But anyway, he's done films recently like Malignant, which I love. I think Malignant's fantastic. But this film, Dead Silence, from I think it's about 2007. Not too keen on it. It's got a good premise. It could have been a lot better, I thought. I just found it a little bit slow. So there's Dead Silence at number 4. I don't really have many bad things to say about it, as I've only watched it like a couple of times. I think it's all right, I suppose. I can understand why a lot of people love it, but just wasn't for me, really. It could have been for me, given the subject matter, but I just found it a little bit uninteresting. But maybe I need to rewatch it. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the problem's me. Maybe it's not the film. Maybe it's not overrated. You know, I just find it a tad little bit overrated at the moment. But maybe, like I say, maybe it's not. Maybe I just need to watch it again. That's Dead Silence. Okay, so we've kind of got a double header for 3 and 2, so it might be a little bit more boring entries. But however, anyway, at number 3, A Quiet Place. Yeah, I did like this film when I first watched it. I thought it was like middle of the road, kind of interesting. I like the whole concept of having to be silent, otherwise the creatures will hear you and basically come and devour you and kill you. But yeah, I find this overrated. It's got some good performances, but it's a bit slow. The concept gets tiresome throughout. It's a good idea, but I think as they did 2 films, it was too much, and there'll probably be another film, as they were quite successful. The performances are pretty good in the film. I haven't got a problem with the acting, but I do find the films a bit overrated for me. That's A Quiet Place. Okay, top 2 now. So anyway, let's crack on. And like I said, it's a bit of a double header with number 3. Number 2, Quiet Place Part 2, even more overrated than the first film. I prefer the first film. A lot of people prefer this one. They find it really engaging and really shocking or whatnot. Again, The concept kind of works throughout the film, but it gets boring, it gets tiresome. I thought it was okay, but it's kind of like, same old thing. It's not that interesting to me. I preferred the part one by a long shot, and yeah. Quiet Place Part 2 at number 2 in the most overrated list for me. Okay, so we're at number 1 now. I did make this a slightly quick video as I just wanted to get it done and breeze through it because it was requested, and I thought I'd actually take the request on board and make the video so it's done. Number 1 may piss a lot of people off. I don't hate the film, and I don't think I've watched it enough to have a really good opinion on it, but from the amount of times I have watched it, which is about 4 times throughout my life, I think it's really overrated. I'm not even going to say it's a tad overrated. I love the series. I love the main character. I think he's a fantastic antagonist. However, I don't know if you can guess which one's number 1, but for me, my number 1 most overrated film, this is just my opinion, is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddys Revenge. So I don't have a single edition of this, so I've had to show a DVD set. I do have a on Blu-ray and a Blu-ray set, but I thought I'd go with this edition just to show. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, I don't find it that interesting. I know it's got some interesting undertones to some people. Some people find the undertones in the film interesting, should I say. I think it's quite boring. Freddy's depiction's pretty good in it. Like, he's quite sinister, as a lot of people say. I do agree with that, but I just found the main characters and the protagonists really irritating. And I find it a bit silly as well how he goes around. I mean, the pool scene's okay, but it is a little bit silly where he's like running around the pool killing everybody. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, and it is Freddy, so you have to be prepared for a little bit of silliness. But yeah, Freddy's Revenge, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, overrated in my opinion. Yeah, and that's all I have to say on it. I'm not going to slate the film because it's not the worst thing I've seen. It's not even a bad film, really. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's overrated by a long shot. And it's in no way better than Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. No way. It's not even better than New Nightmare, in my opinion. I think New Nightmare is a much smarter, like, cleverer film than Freddy's Revenge. But there we go. Freddy's Revenge may be fun. Some people find it fun. I just don't think it's that good. Anyway, that was my 10 most overrated. Not the most interesting list because I like most things. Even with my top 50 that I did of my favourites, some of them were at number 50, like classics like Black Christmas, and I did put the Babadook higher than Black Christmas, and Return of the Living Dead by like a placement, but that's just because it resonates with me. It's not necessarily a better film as a whole or has more like merit than Black Christmas or legendary status, of course, but it just resonates with me more, so I did put it in the list slightly higher. But anyway, there's my 10 most overrated. Any comments, do comment. I don't mind comments. Yeah, I'm happy to respond. Say what you guys say what you like. Perhaps a lot of people disagree with me. I'd imagine I'm going to annoy a couple of people with putting Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge as number 1, but still, I'm down with that. Sometimes you have to take a bit of a chance, and I think that's a really overrated film. But anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye.